He's that guy, you know. He's that guy in that show. That guy in that show.
Hey, thanks, Prof. Yes, this week's That Guy That Was in That Show is Dennis Dugan. Prof, can you please enlighten myself and the rest of the listeners about the long, talented, varied career and still active one of Dennis Dugan?
Yeah, you betcha. Dennis Dugan was born Dennis Barton Dugan on September 5th, 1946. He's 79 years old, and he's still alive. And he was born in Wheaton, Illinois, USA. His mom was a housewife, and his dad was an insurance exec, and he went to what is now DePaul University for acting and started his career in New York City. A little trivia note, he is married to Joyce Van Patten. So on television, he was in MASH. That's one of the things that I first remember seeing him in MASH. He was on a show, The Sixth Sense, not the movie. He does not see dead people. He may see Adam Sandler, but not dead people. He was in The Girl Most Likely To, Mod Squad, The Waltons, Cannon, Columbo, The Rockford Files. There's some of our big hitters there. Alice, Rich Man, Poor Man, Hill Street Blues, and Moonlighting, among many others. In movies, he was in Harry and Walter Go to New York, Can't Buy Me Love, She's Having a Baby, The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking, Parenthood, Supertrain. I love that movie. Hunter, Doogie Howser, M.D. Oh, that was a TV show. And other TV shows he was in was L.A. Law, Picket Fences, and Chicago Hope. He was a director as well, or he is a director, I should say. Some of the movies he directed were Problem Child, Brain Donors, Saving Silverman, National Security. He directed Happy Gilmore and Big Daddy, and including an episode of Moonlighting, Ally McBeal, NYPD Blue, The Benchwarmers, I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Grown Ups, and Beverly Hills Ninja. So that is quite a career that Mr. Dugan had. Chris, what are some of your memories of the great and talented Dennis Dugan?
Thank you, Prof. To me, there was this sort of shucksy kind of vibe to me with Dennis Dugan in his early acting career. I probably first saw him as the semi-recurring character Richie Brockelman on The Rockford Files. And he was in the episodes The House on Willis Avenue and Never Send a Boy King to Do a Man's Job. I think that one might have been a two-parter. He'd later get a short-lived spin-off series playing the same title character titled, what else? Richie Brockelman, Private Eye. Prof, other memorable parts for me were in The Howling. Prof, you mentioned MASH. He did 2 guest appearances as 2 different characters in Colonel Potter's son-in-law. And he did 4 appearances. 4 question mark? Because I thought it was more. Where he played a character named Captain Freedom on Hill Street Blues. And this was a guy who would just go out and put on a superhero costume and try to fight crime. Wow. But he took one risk too far, and his character was shot and killed. And this was perhaps inevitably because he was just so inept and so naive at what he did. And I think his final words as characters was, "Stop this criminal act." And it was just so sad just to see this character perish in such a way. I wish they could have done more with him, but such as it was a memorable part. He was in the Columbo, The Last Salute to the Commodore, and I have to confess, I had no idea about his directing credits until we did some research for this segment. Full disclosure, I really like Adam Sandler as a comedian. I am not a huge fan of his movies. Please don't come at me. But I really thought it was cool to learn that he had just such a range of perhaps as many directing credits, seemingly with just as many acting credits, including these great little appearances in the Adam Sandler movies.
So this week's That Guy in That Show is Dennis Dugan.
He's that guy, you know. He's that guy in that show. That guy in that show.
Now it's the portion where we mention our thank yous, and we mention the comments that we received, and we give out some shout outs. We'll start off with some comments that we got from Cat Victory. Thank you, Cat Victory. Points out to myself and the professor, I thought you guys might be interested in this. It's a very heartwarming effort to encourage Mike Forrest, a.k.a. Apollo. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate that.
That was the guy from the Star Trek episode that played Apollo, and he's an actor. He's getting a little older. He doesn't really have a big family, a lot of people around him, and this was just an effort for folks to send some heartwarming messages to a guy who spent his whole life entertaining us. So
I can't thank Cat Victory enough because, yeah, I am a huge fan of Mike Forrest. I recall him, and of course, the episode Who Don't Want Her Donuts in Star Trek. But more than that, I've seen him in other bit parts too, be it an episode of Gomer Pyle or being the episode of Twilight Zone, Black Leather Jackets, where he also appeared in. He was just a fantastic actor and just had a marvelous, marvelous presence. Yes, thank you so much, Cat Victory. A great, great, talented actor. Cat Victory continues. Something different for Chris's Comics Corner this week. Please join us for an interesting comic book each week. Awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Cat Victory. I really appreciate that. Cat Victory continues. If you have a fear of bridges, you will definitely get over it by listening to the Professor Frenzy Show. See what he did there, because this is where we took a look at Lloyd Bridges' life and career. Nicely done, Cat Victory. We can't thank you enough for that. Well, with that, we'll move on to some shout-outs. We'll start off with the mascot of our show, Robin at Robin031. Robin, I love you. Thank you very, very much. And I really cannot thank you enough for all the inspiration you've given me and being the love of my life. We heard from our 2 Sleeps at 2 Sleeps Music. Now, I feel bad because I overlooked Kara at the last time I gave a mention and shout out to 2 Sleeps. So Kara, if you're listening, please forgive me. I want to give you a shout out because you do a lot of things behind the scenes when you put on the 2 Sleeps concert. Now, here's where we get to the plug. Yes, it's our friend Mike, aka 2 Sleeps, who puts on a concert twice a week that you can get for free. Yes, you, the listener, can get this for free. Now, it's twice a week. Here's what you do. Go into your search engine, type in 2 Sleeps Music Twitch TV. Now, on Sunday afternoons at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, 2 Sleeps puts on a concert, and he takes requests. Now, this is the holiday time of year, so you might be akin to hearing 2 Sleeps do a little bit of Blue Christmas by Elvis, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, what have you. Baby It's Cold Outside, where Kara is then tasked with doing a duet. And boy, I have to say, it puts a smile on my face when they do the holiday music. So Kara, my apologies for overlooking you on the last time I did the mention for 2 Sleeps. You can also catch the concert Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. When you're in the concert, you'll have to click on a link and then you'll sign in. And that's how you can get involved in the chat as well as access to the playlist where you can select songs. The list is well over 200 by now. Now, we are in the holiday season, but if you don't want to necessarily hear a holiday song, you can select something out of the box, perhaps 8 Days a Week by the Beatles, which was suggested by our mascot, Robin at Robin031 Robin, along with the song Fire Lake. That's one of our personal favorites. We really enjoy his rendition of that. But you might hear some Foo Fighters. You might hear some Tom Petty. Oh, gosh, maybe some Stray Cats. How about some Monkees? It's a huge plethora of song selections. Music enhances my mood. It really, really sets me in a right frame of mind. So I can't thank Mikey enough. Also, he has a very inexpensive Patreon. For $1 mere. You can get some original content. Thank you so much. 2 Sleeps at 2 Sleeps Music. It's our buddy Randy. Now, you can find him at RandyLanders1 on Twitter or Frumpy Sketch Artist on Blue Sky. Randy puts out some marvelous robotic sketches, so many and such that he has put them into a coloring book. Not just 1, but 2. You can find these on Amazon as we speak. Randy also does a podcast called Soundtrack Alley. That's where Randy looks to see how music enhances a film. And now, he also does some history, and I always look at the movie immediately after with a different lens, knowing about the history about the film along with the music. Randy has a well-produced podcast, and it is an awesome treasure. Please check it out. It's our buddy Clinton. Clinton, holiday wishes to you, my friend. Thank you so much for all that you do. You put on a podcast called Coffee and Comics. In Coffee and Comics, you look at a comic in about the time it takes to down a cup of coffee. Occasionally, you'll have on a guest and ask some very fascinating questions. It's a great show. Clinton, thank you so much for your longtime support, my friend. Now, let me give you some other plugs. You also do Fan Film Fridays. That's over at the Longbox Crusade feed. Now, don't worry, gang, because the Longbox Crusade has a whole treasure trove of some very awesome podcasts that I love. It's great, great stuff. Now, when Clinton has time, he also does the Days of High Adventure podcast, which looks at sword and sorcery comics. Very, very good stuff there. And don't fall asleep on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Hour. That's along with John and Lane. Thanks so much. We appreciate that. It's our friend Billy D. Now, you can catch all of his podcasts over at the Magazines and Monsters feed. Billy D covers Bronze Age horror, covers horror movies, and if that's not enough, one of my personal favorites is a podcast called The Brave and the Bob, which examines comics written by Bob Haney, a.k.a. Zany Bob Haney. It's good stuff. Now, primarily, Bob did work on the Brave and the Bold title, which had Batman team-ups from late 60s, primarily through the 70s, early 80s, what have you, but it's mostly in the 70s. This was right in my wheelhouse as a kid, getting the comics off the 7-Eleven rack, and it's a great, great trip down memory lane, and it jogs so many memories that I have. Billy D, thank you for an outstanding year of podcasts and giving me something to listen to and enjoy. It's a huge gift that you had no idea what you were doing, but you trigger so many memories. So if you're into Bronze Age horror, if you're into Bronze Age monster stuff, horror movies, be it Hammer, what have you, check out Billy D. Huge, huge horror fan, what have you. Billy D, I know you've got some other things in the works. I don't want to spoil too much there, but thank you for everything, and in particular, The Brave and the Bob. It's listener emeritus. It's our buddy Mac Rocks at Mac Rocks. Thank you so much. It's our longtime supporter, DSA May Collins. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, DSA Collins. Oh, best of wishes to you this coming year. Now, we also heard from Stoner Santa. Now, Stoner Santa, I didn't know who you are, but you were formerly the Gringo, so thank you very much. We appreciate that. Good to have your support, my friend. We also heard from Will McKinley. Now, Prof, you have a note here with respect to this?
Yeah, Will worked for Jonathan Frid, Barnabas Collins from Dark Shadows. So Will McKinley is he's got a lot of knowledge about horror and Dark Shadows in particular. So it's very nice that he liked one of our shows.
That's awesome. Also want to give a shout out to Joe Comic Fan. Also want to give a shout out to the fellows over at the Bat Pod. Thank you so much for your support. Want to give a shout out to our friends Darren and Ruth over at the Rad Adventures Network because they give us support. Thank you very, very much. Oh, I know I'm over. IB Bola, thank you very much, and I appreciate you reaching out. And I know I've been a little lax trying to get back to you, but I know you're listening, so thank you very much for your support, my friend, at the nice, kind notes that you have. Listeners, if I overlooked you, my sincerest and deepest apologies, because I would really totally feel bad if there was somebody overlooked. If I did, let me know at BTO and Bad Books, or better still, to cover all the bases, let the professor himself know at Professor Frenzy. Thank you so much for listening. We had a lot of fun doing this, and we cannot thank you enough for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Professor Frenzy Show. You can find our podcast if you do an iTunes search for the Professor Frenzy Show. You can listen to the show on Twitter and find me on Twitter at Professor Frenzy and Chris at BTO and Bat Books.
Hey, we're on Facebook over the Professor Frenzy Show page. We're on Instagram at Professor Frenzy. We're now also on Amazon Music, and we are now also on YouTube. Just visit youtube.com/Professor Frenzy, all one word. We are now also on TikTok, so go to Professor Frenzy 2 to see our videos.
If you have an Android phone, the Professor Frenzy Show is part of the free network. Just swipe right on your homepage and look in the art section of the podcast lists. Whatever device you use, you can subscribe to our podcast feed by doing an iTunes search for Professor Frenzy.
Thank you for listening to the Professor Frenzy Show. Let us know on Twitter what you think about our show, and please help us get the word out to people that might like these kinds of comics.
Thanks to everyone for listening. We look forward to chatting more about comics next week. And please remember, pick up your pull.
Professor Frenzy. Professor Frenzy.
All original content of the Professor Frenzy Show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported License.
Professor Frenzy.
You are on the Frenzy Feed.